Now let us understand basic difference between module.exports and exports argument. So our exports is nothing but it is reference to module.export. Now here I will be creating one file. I will give the file name as person.js. Inside this, what I will do, I am just going to create one simple object. I will write here const. I will give the object name as person1 is equal to, inside this I will give the property as place, and here I will give Bengaluru. Okay, simple. This is JavaScript object. Inside this I am having one property place. I will write here log. Inside this I'm just going to give person1. I will open terminal, and here I will run the application node person. As soon as I hit enter, inside this person1 I am having place and the value is Bengaluru. Now what I will do, I will be creating another person2, and for this I am just going to assign this person1 as the object. Now below this I will log person2, save it. Again I will run the application. Now for both I will have place property, and for both I am having the value Bengaluru. And why this is happening? Because this entire object I have assigned to this person2. So in JavaScript, both this object will be pointing to same address in our memory. So that is the reason for both I am having this result. Now what I want, for this person2 object, I just want to change the place. So below this, I will write person2. How we are going to change the property value? Simply, we have to write dot access property, and here I will give the value as Mysore. Now below this, I will log person2 as well as I will be logging person1. Save it, open terminal. I will just run the application. Now inside this, if you see, for both person1 and person2, my value of the place is changed. But here inside only person2, I have changed the value. But what happened, as it is pointing to same address in the memory, in both the object, my value is changed to Mysore. Okay, why we are able to change? Because both are pointing to same address in the memory. But now what I will do, instead of this, I will just access this person2. Now for this person2, directly I will just assign this object. And inside this object, I will be passing the property place. And now here I will be giving Mysore. I will just copy these two consoles. Below this I will be pasting, uncomment. Now I will just run this. Now if you see, for person1 I am having Bengaluru, but for person2 I am having Mysore. Now here, as soon as I assign to this another object, it is pointing to another address in the memory. So only for this person2 I am able to change the value, and person1 will be having the old value. Now both are not referencing to the same address in the memory. So that is the reason I am having different result. So now here, as soon as I assign this person2 to this complete new object, what I have done, I have just broken my reference. So that is the reason person1 is having the old value and person2 is having Mysore, that is new value. But directly, if I updated the value using the property for both person1 and person2, I got the value as Mysore. I hope this example is clear, because now using this concept, we are going to see difference between module.export and exports. Now I will open index.js, as well as I'm just going to open this figuring.js. Inside this, we have written 5 patterns of common JS module. Now here, I am having this fourth pattern where I am using module.export. And as I mentioned, this export is nothing but this is referencing to module.export. First, let me uncomment. And inside this index.js, we have already required. We have just destructured and we are just calling sum and sub. Now I will open terminal. I'm just going to run node index. As soon as I hit enter, I am able to get the result. Now, in place of this module.export, what I have done, simply I am just writing export. I will just comment this. Now you can see. So it is simply like this is nothing but object, and on that object we are just accessing this sum and sub. Similar to this person example, I will open this file. So on this person 2, I am accessing place, I am assigning the value. Same thing I have done here. So in this case, what happens? This is still going to refer to this module.export. What we have done, whenever we access the property and change the value, it was changed both in person 1 and person 2. So here the reference link was not broken. So we got the result. Similarly, here also directly we are accessing the properties. So again, if I just run node index, I will be having the result. So now for both we are having the result. But now what I will do, I will just copy this pattern, copy, and below this I will write one comment, module.exports versus exports. I will paste. Now what I am doing, module.export, and directly I am assigning this object, and inside that I am just exporting sum and sub. So this is like my person 1. Now I will open terminal. Again I will execute. I am having the result. Now what I will do? Same thing. Okay. This is my person 1. So I am having the result. I will just copy this. Below this I will be pasting. Now this entire export, you can just think this is as person 2. And this entire export I am just assigning to new object. So what happened? As soon as I assign to new object, our reference link will be broken and person 1 will be having the old value and person 2 will be having this new value. Same thing we have done for this object. Directly we have assigned this complete new object. Now as soon as I run this application, as soon as I hit enter, I will be having this error. Sum is not a function and it will not be able to execute the result. Why? Because now we have broken the reference link and now it will be pointing to empty object. So here while exporting this calculation, let me just write here log, and inside this I will simply write calculation, comment this, run this application. You can see now it is nothing but it is an empty object. Now from empty object I cannot destructure any values. And why we are getting empty object? Because in modules, Node.js is only going to return module.export and it is not going to return this export object. So export is nothing but it is just reference to module.export. Now module.export is empty because we are not returning that. So that is the reason whenever we are just requiring this, we are having empty object here. And using this, we have just broken the reference link. So that is the reason whenever you are trying to export something, always use module.export. Okay, always use this syntax. But in these cases, if you are sure you are not going to assign any new object to this export, then you can use export. But still, I would suggest always go with module.export. And for this, we got the result because it is still referencing to module.export. So whatever answer we get, same answer we are going to have in this. So that is the reason while requiring this, we got the result. But here, as soon as I use export, now from here, we are not returning module.export. And here, we are just breaking the reference. So that is the reason we are going to get empty object instead of getting this exported values. So you should be very careful whenever you are exporting some data in other modules. So now whatever arguments we have in our wrapper function, that is exports, require, module, file name and div name, all we have seen, and now we understood what are those arguments and how we get access to those arguments.